Fairfax County Police say an 18-year-old is behind the crash at this intersection that killed 2 Oakton High School students and left a third in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Downed trees like this one on homes are just some of the things motivating a major cleanup effort here in the Maryland region after storms swept across the area last night. If you've ever wondered why urban areas are rife with rats, well, one rodent expert told us that it starts with trash cans just like this one that are open and unkempt. We're outside of Nats Park tonight, where members of Congress are just inside those gates behind me, getting ready to knock it out the park for a good cause. If you take a look at this Bethesda streetery, you'll see that restaurants have set up rows of beautiful outdoor dining areas. But come early September, Montgomery County's Department of Transportation is asking that restaurant owners pack them up earlier than expected. Dribbling and kicking are just some of the skills that students at Henley Elementary will be able to practice thanks to a new mini soccer pitch installation from the U.S. Soccer Foundation that's just right outside. So let's get right into that class action suit that was filed last week. What should people understand about a civil suit like this, and what consequences, if any, could it lead to for Governor Ron DeSantis? The Boston City Council is discussing local voting rights for Boston's 16 and 17-year-olds this week, an effort to establish early voting habits and give a voice to Boston's young adults. The application for student loan forgiveness is now open. President Joe Biden announced Monday that 8 million people had already signed up for loan relief during the trial period last weekend.
To all of you, and to all of you out there, with the help of so many, we made history, didn't we? We made history.
Massachusetts elected Attorney General Maura Healey as governor Tuesday night. Healey secured an early victory over her Republican opponent Jeff Deal hours after polls closed. Her leadership brings new representation to the state's highest office.
I stand before you tonight proud to be the first woman and the first gay person ever elected governor of Massachusetts.
Healey's win also marks the first time the state will have a Democratic governor since 2015, and she becomes the nation's first openly lesbian U.S. governor. Voters say they resonated with her diverse background and look forward to Healey amplifying marginalized voices.
I'm personally, I identify as bisexual, and I think having someone in office that's not, the typical straight white man is a very big step no matter what party they're in. And I think it's also really inspiring for a lot of communities that don't necessarily see representation as often as they should.
Healey was elected alongside a slate of other female candidates, most of whom joined her to celebrate on election night. Healey will lead Massachusetts with her Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll, at a crucial time in the state and the nation when many have been divided over the economy and abortion rights.
Our job from day one will be to make our state more affordable. I'll be a governor for every person struggling with higher costs. And as long as I'm governor, women will always have the freedom to control their own bodies.
Supporters say they believe Healey and Driscoll can unite the Commonwealth and bring change.
She's able to work with anybody, and hopefully this logjam that we have on state levels and on the national level of policy not moving forward because everyone's infighting, that hopefully she'll be able to kind of fix that.
The governor-elect isn't waiting until January to get started. She says our first line of business will be meeting with Governor Baker tomorrow to address the Commonwealth's most pressing needs. Here at the Fairmont Copley Plaza, I'm Stephannie Joseph for BUTV 10. Hey Steve, a stabbing on Saturday and a double shooting and double stabbing on Sunday are some of the latest incidents to happen along the U Street corridor. In addition to that council member, we also spoke to some concerned residents living and working in the area who say enough is enough. U Street, an area known for its culture and bustling nightlife, has been at the center of continuous violent crime. Yellow tape, police, and gunshots have become all too familiar to those in the area. 3 separate stabbings and shootings happened within at least 24 hours of each other last weekend. The violence has those who live or work on U Street on high alert.
It's just terrible up here. I'm scared when I get off the train.
It's concerning, to see that you wake up on a Sunday and you see that there have been shootings.
Residents say they've witnessed other problems growing in the area, including smoking, fights, and loud ATV riders.
We saw someone rob a convenience store and run out. A lot of mentally ill folks sort of wandering and yelling. Councilwoman Brianne Nadeau says the violence has a lot to do with more people returning to the area as pandemic restrictions eased.
I think, we need more resources for the corridor. There's more people coming, and sort of the level of conflict that didn't exist in the same way has elevated.
She is creating a U Street nightlife task force to address the issue. The task force will include community leaders, members of the district attorney's office, and Metro Police. Now, residents had a list of changes they suggested to us when we spoke to them, such as an adjustment in police presence. The task force is expected to meet next month to propose their own changes to Councilwoman Nadeau. Ukrainians and other Boston area allies met in the public garden last Friday to commemorate Defenders of Ukraine Day. The public holiday is celebrated on October 14th in Ukraine to honor members of the armed forces for protecting citizens. Organizers say this Defenders Day comes at a crucial time.
It's very significant that we're celebrating this in the middle of a war going on, and we're coming out here and we're showing that Ukraine actually stands for all the democracy and protects the country, the world, and all the values that go with it.
Participants are making a circle of defense around the George Washington statue to represent the same efforts going on abroad after Russia invaded Ukraine last February.
We will have Americans here, we will have other nationalities here who will stand with us holding hands to symbolize that we are all protecting, in this case, statue of George Washington, as Ukrainians protecting the world right now.
As demonstrators formed the circle, they shouted several chants, including one to provide weapons. BU PhD student Daria Bogatova went back to Ukraine to deliver aid through her nonprofit during the early part of the war. She says weaponry will fortify Ukraine's defense against Russia.
The aggressor that we're facing, they have all kinds of weapons. They have everything. They have tanks, they have missiles, they have rocket systems. So we do need, in fact, weapons. According to the invite for this event, more than a dozen other cities across the world are forming their own circles of defense to stand in solidarity with those on the front lines of the war in Ukraine. Here in Boston Public Garden, I'm Stephannie Joseph for BUTV News.